Hello guys, welcome back. I am back from short vacation and now I am ready to get back into the Manta. So we have quite a lot of things to do. We need to cover this up and the entire trunk. So this is coming up in the next few episodes. I hope you're excited and let's get to work. So we have repaired the C-pillar, we have put on new sheet metal and get some of the lines sorted using car spotter and just simple bodywork tools. I have also painted the rear chassis rails from the inside because we're going to close them off. Then I have to strip the paint from the trunk, but we're going to close this off just because we don't want the dust and old paint coming into it because it's hard to clean and because it has to be closed off in any case. We also need to repair this edge. We have this one ready now and we have sorted out the rear panel because it was crashed before and the area surrounding the rear lights were a little bit deformed, so we kind of took care of that. So this is sorted and everything is pretty much ready to be stripped from the inside, and then we can put in the new trunk. It's much easier to access all the parts because we don't have trunk floor and we can stand in the car when we are sanding and grinding, everything can fall out. We don't have to use a vacuum cleaner every time and compressed air, so it's a little bit easier and a little bit healthier for our backs. Now we're going to head home, continue with the work after lunch. This here is the area that had to be replaced just because the sheet metal was bent and also heavily corroded. With this bit here we're thinking about soldering it or putting lead on for demonstration purposes, so you will see a little bit how this is done. I've never done this before, but here we're just going to use filler because it's pretty nice and straight. We have used car spotter, so we have new edges, and this is the part and this is the bit that needs to be replaced. So this is how it looks now, and these are the chassis rails that I covered with primer color so it can be sealed off. We've made 2 holes where the tow hitch has to go, and this is the bit that we've been working on now, because this was bent, and this contour we were taking notes from this one and then transferring it to here. Of course some finer work has to be done, but this is roughly it. The spare wheel is in and we are extra happy. So I am back in my trunk. I have taped off all the edges where dust can come into it, because I'm going to water brush the trunk and try to get as much paint, and just because I want to have nice clean foundation with fresh primer on exposed metals. So but now I'm going to get into a little bit of protective gear, crank up the music and just go to work. So right there is that black insulation stuff inside. There's this black protection inside. I found out that cleaning it out with gasoline works just as well, if not better, than nitro thinner. Gasoline is also cheaper, so it's a better option in this case. So I'm going to clean out these areas with gasoline. So it's day number 2 and I was stuck yesterday because I didn't have enough products to clean up the black oily protection from inside. They have covered all the rear quarter panel in it, and it did protect the metal, of course, but now because it's going to be resprayed, it needs to come out. So I need to clean it up, and I was testing yesterday with nitro thinner and gasoline works better and it's cheaper. So let's go. Hopefully I won't set the car on fire. That would be bad, especially now when some work has been done to it. So I have cleaned a little bit of gunky protection out, but I have inhaled a large amount of gasoline and nitro thinner, so I think I'm going to quit cleaning for today because I don't have a mask that would filter out gases. So this is it for today, the cleaning part. So right now I'm going to brush and sand a little bit the old color off, and I have found a spot in the quarter panel on the inside, on the driver's side, that I think has a little bit of rust, but I need to go in with a brush to see if it's going to smoke in a orange color. Then it means it's rust, so it's a good thing I cleaned this off so I can address that, then protect it. I've also seen that I can actually get to the welds that were inner arch, so I can protect those as well. So let's use a little bit more of the elbow grease and let's get to work. This is the area I've been talking about. In here, I think this is all rust, so this will have to be cleaned off. Okay, so it's the next day, and yesterday I have been scrubbing off the old paint from inner side of the C-pillar and the rear quarter panel. Now the accessibility is rather poor, so I have got my hands on a few places, but that's normal. Right now that side has been treated with primer because after I scraped it off, I have used gasoline to get the oily, waxy protection off. Then the gasoline left a little bit of a residue, and I have used nitro thinner. This has degreased the surface, but it also lifted up the old paint, so I was able to just wipe off the old paint. Then I have wire brushed all the parts that seem a little bit rusty. They had some flash rust. Even though there was a protection film underneath, it was still rusting underneath. So wire brushed that off using various attachments, and then I have put on rust remover, the phosphoric acid based rust removal, and then I have wire brushed it again, and then I have put on the tannic acid rust converter, the wooded one. So this is done the black. This has made a black layer of protection over the metal that was experiencing some oxidation, and now I have put on a primer because we need to seal that converted rust off within 48 hours. So this is it. This side has been wire brushed now, and I have found two spots that I have left out. So I put rust remover. I have put on rust removal on, but this side was actually done in a large manner when we were fixing this, because we had a much better access. So I have took the liberty of wire brushing it and putting the rust converter on, priming everything, but because there are still welds from the inside that are exposed, I have decided to scrub it off a little bit to get the junk off the welds, and I'm going to put a fresh coat of primer color in the quarter panel and over the welds, and then treat it with red color. So this is it, and then we continue with the more accessible part of the trunk. We need to get all the old paint and, let's say, temporary paint, because I have put on primer color that is cheap just for the time being, because I didn't want the metal to corrode during our work. But now this needs to come off and a more quality version comes on, because there was a lot of grinding and welding and everything, and the good primer color would burn anyways. So I have used the cheap one, and now it's time to put on a nice quality one, and then hopefully we can start finishing off the trunk area, because it is getting a little bit annoying, because every time you step into the workshop you don't see any progress. I mean, with the front that it was clearly visible what we've done, but here I feel like for the past half year every time I come here I have to work on the back of the car. So I'll be quite happy when the new floor is in and the quarter panels are finished. We still have a lot of places we need to address. We have fenders, hood, trunk, boot lid, trunk lid, whatever, and doors. So yeah, we're not going to run out of work anytime soon, but you know, slowly but surely. But let's enjoy the process, learn a lot, and hopefully this is informative to you. Yeah, this is how it looks after the first primer color paint. We still have some spots we need to address, but we're going to put another coat anyways, but this is just to seal it off. Side, we still have a little bit to go. We still need to clean this red paint off, and then put on the fresh primer color. And this is the weld I've been talking about. This needs to be cleaned off and put on fresh coat of primer. Okay, I might have misspoken here, because right there was another rusty spot. I have wire brushed it out now, but this is because there is an opening right there, see? And this is where the rain and the water We'll go into the side and down to the inner arch. Not the best design ever. So I have cleaned this out now. I need to wipe it out and apply rust converter. That bit under there is not as bad as it looks, because there is an oily protection film underneath, and we have changed the rear arches inner and outer, so it's not as bad, but now it's just taped over. It needs to be cleaned out and then treated, but I have taped it off because I don't want all the dust falling into it. This is the responsible bit for corrosion underneath here, because water was coming through here and into the archway, so this has to be changed then because everything rusts. Now we can also see right here some problems. See, this is where we got our rust converter. The whole bit here is also rusty. Now this had wax and the oily protection on, but it's still rusty because we have holes for the trim and water comes in it. And because there was a lot of moisture because of water that was in here, we have corrosion. So we need to clean everything out and then wire brush it, sand it, and put on rust converter. We have taken out the bolts for the rear lights just because we wanted to see what's inside of this edge, and also it's a better access to this area here from the inside. It was a little bit rusty, so we need to wire brush it out and put rust converter on, primer, and then paint it. We also have a great opportunity to clean all of this rust out, so we will prevent any bubbling from in the future. This is the new floor for the trunk, and here is the hole for it. I have wire brushed both edges and put in rust converter, and now we are going to sort off the old one because we need to reference it where exactly it comes. In the hole we have a couple of holes drilled so we can align it properly and then do all of the other stuff. I've opened this edge up a little bit and wire brushed as much as I could and put in rust converter as well, so we will then close it together, and then we need to wire brush all the edges where those bolts for the rear lights come welded in, and then put in primer and seal everything off, and then continue with the lower bits everywhere. So we have some rust flakes because the bare sheet metal has been sitting for too long. I should have primed it, but we're going to make holes and some modifications to it, so we're going to prime it then.